I was lost in the sauce, but now I'm on fine. What's good, everybody? It's the Sauce Guy here. And today I want to talk about Sanji Vinsmoke. And probably his most obvious power-up. I won't say obvious because it still is a theory at the end of the day, but the power-up I think he may get in this arc. And that, my friends, is the Vinsmoke ExoSkeleton. Just like his siblings, Ichiji, Niji, and Yanji, they are genetically modified humans. And we've seen on countless occasions when they're hit with blunt damage via bullets, punches, kicks, all that shit, that their actual skins are hard. They have a hard exoskeleton that's kind of like metal and as such. And I feel like Sanji would be able to access that later on in the future of this arc. Well, probably relatively soon, since this arc is about to end. But before I get into all that, let's talk more about the actual Vinsmokes and what makes them superhuman. We know that their father, Judge, aka the leader of the motherfucking Germa 66, aka Germa W, Judge Top 5. But we know that Judge is a top scientist that worked with Dr. Vegapunk. And what he did with his sons was, in the womb of their mother, he actually performed experimentation on them to give them superhuman abilities, aka the exoskeleton and all their I don't want to say elemental, but it seemed to be elemental, but all their different abilities or whatever. Starting with Ichiji, who has explosions. Then we have Niji, who has electricity, and Yanji, who is the green winch. I'm still not too sure on that, but we will figure it out later. But that's besides the point. We know that they're all genetically modified, and they all went through the same process that Sanji himself went through. See, before we was introduced to Sanji's siblings, the rest of his family, we've seen Sanji display similar abilities, such as he's Diablo Jambe back on fucking, Water 7 in his lobby, all that bullshit. Don't mind me, this is raw cut, bare bones, I don't care, fuck all the editing. But anyway, we've seen him ignite himself on fire and use that on countless occasions. And at first we kind of just thought it was like a bullshit power-up. But getting more backstory on his siblings and how he grew up and all that shit, it's safe to assume that his abilities stem from the same experiments that he performed on him and his siblings. Now, I know there may be a little bit of confusion in the case of Sanji, since his mother actually performed her own experiments, which allowed him to be uniquely modified as far as he was able to keep his emotions, unlike his siblings who are emotionless, who lack empathy, but are also superhuman. But we see that the experiment itself still worked on Sanji, proof being the Diablo Jambe. Now, we know from the backstory that Reiji was giving Sanji that Sanji's mother's main goal was to make sure that Sanji, or all of them, even though it only worked on Sanji, was not a soulless, emotionless machine. She wanted to make sure that he still grew up like a regular human. And in that respect, her experiment actually worked successfully on Sanji. But that doesn't take away the fact that he still was experimented on like all his siblings, which is constantly referenced in the Whole Cake Island as a whole, because we can see Judge says it multiple times. Even Sanji says it's even though he doesn't necessarily like the Vinsmokes, he still has Vinsmoke blood in his system, So that leads me to believe that he will eventually access his exoskeleton like his brothers, because he still underwent the same experimentation as they did. And to give more supporting evidence for that, we've seen throughout the entire story that we've met Sanji that one of his biggest problems is his bones. We've seen him break his bones against Virgo. We've seen him break his bone in Drum Island. He constantly shatters his bones when he's fighting or so. So I feel as though an exoskeleton would be the perfect power up for Sanji. It'd be a complete power up for Sanji because that would nullify his I wouldn't say weakness, but it would nullify his frailty of his bones. I hate to say frailty against my boy Sanji, but it is what it is. Boy, you break your bones all the goddamn time. And not only is it a complete power up, it would give more depth to his character because we know that Sanji hates his family. Like, he has all the reason to hate his family. But the thing is the fact that he still is a Vinsmoke. He has Judge's blood running through his veins. He has that same experimentation that his brothers did. So that's one of those things where you can't get away from your past. Like, you know who you are, whether you accept it or not. So I feel like Sanji will have to come to terms to that, all the while still having this power up. Because we honestly know Sanji needs a fucking power up at this point. And that's pretty much it. Short, sweet, to the point. Team EXO all day. Vinsmoke Snambo. Jammer 66. Jammer W.